could make a plot point to plot point analysis of the first season and show how the story progresses, but let's be honest, what for?
The only thing that could be bigger than the Colossal Titan...
Yes, even bigger than you, Kaku.
It's the appeal of the series. Everybody knows. People in groups that have nothing to do with anime or manga ask about it and ponder reading or watching them.
So what could I contribute to the fandom?
That day he remembered that alien giraffes have long necks. And I'm gonna have to run from a giraffe. When you think about war stories, what comes to mind? Yeah, tough battles, dirty and continuous fight, explosions. The same way that when you talk of horror, it's still common to think of...
But personally, horror to me is...
the ambience, the sense of unexpected, and the struggle. It doesn't matter how unreal the item used to solve the story is, because the whole premise is outside reality. If it isn't too exaggerated, it works, even though a piece of one of the most legendary items of Japanese mythology being with you the whole time is particularly contrived.
And for some reason, this mirror seems to be a magnet for contrivance.
So, if I had to put Attack on Titan in a genre, I'd have to say it's a kind of psychological war. It's one of the reasons why the humor, while still present, doesn't seem so noticeable. The horror of war is so well represented, it diminishes the impact of the humor. It's almost like those absurd situations you know are ironic, but you don't laugh because the issues are so serious. Besides this one.
今しがた大きな音が聞こえたが、誰か説明してもらおうか。
サシャが放棄した音です。
敵様か。
The horror of war has never been of death. Death comes to all, in hero stories, love stories, comedies. The issue is how it comes about. Characters that get almost as much attention as main characters die without much motivation simply because the enemy is terrible. And if you're starting to think the story is getting better... And, speaking of heroism, the main character is genuinely shown as a hero, not the so frequent blank outdoor we see for the insertion of the spectator or the lazy exposition of importance by third parties, but a character with flaws and limitations he surpasses. He can be a victim of chance, and has numerous moments letting himself slip into his thirst for vengeance. But when he, differently than most, overcomes his fear, he sacrifices himself to save his friend. The presentation of the story isn't perfect, but that's more of a detail than real issues. I don't remember even one person mentioning those episodes in which the eyes aren't the perfect imperfection of luminous color inside matte irregular lines. Because the way the mood is set is fascinating. I could talk about the being surrounded by his biology's limitations that has in himself something that could give the species a chance, for instance, even if that's just considering the aesthetic narration within the narrative. Or I could point out the confusion of starting on the second episode there being a key that wasn't in the first, and the closest to an explanation is that his father is this universe's version of Dr. Schreber from Dark City, all to tie the protagonist to the MacGuffin of his house's basement,
which at this point had already been destroyed. Why did they need a key again? It's like they knew they were going to find a reinforced wall they can't get through before they even went there.
or even that the sudden bloodthirst attacks by Eren are not so useful commentary on the bestial nature of humans, since he uses it well against threats 99% of the time. But in fact, all of this is a detail when the mood is so well set. One of the more terrifying moments of the first season is in episode 4. From a boy who's seen his house destroyed and his mother devoured, the hero has become one of the best new warriors against the threat of titans. He stands atop his world, breathes in deep and feels proud. It's a terrible way to say nothing's changed. You're still tiny and weak.
As safe as you might feel at your apartment or house, at any moment. Everything is ridiculous until it happens. And no, this is not an argument in favor of dictatorships, this is an argument against them.
Yes, there is a reason why people who want a dictatorship love saying their opposition wants a dictatorship.
But the same scene they make sure to show for its impact could easily be less effective if the audience wasn't so well done.
It's an achievement having something I can notice could be a moment of acid irony and just thinking of the series continues showing great comprehension of how to keep the tension, of how not to be just splatter,
or just psychological horror,
or just combat. In fact, the only thing really more flawed is the last intrigue.
Oh yeah, spoilers for one of the most watched anime of the last few years.
Throughout the season, the way the conflict is shown increases in scale. From giants individually devouring humans, sometimes imitating fishing toys, up to the existence of Eren as a titan giving a chance to humanity. The threat of human-controlling titans like Eren then shows up. The way everybody accepts that is already a bit sudden, but the wings of freedom do seem to be used to bizarre situations like
It's preposterous. Wait a minute, H. We're in the business of preposterous.
so you can let it slide. But then we have the fact that Armin's whole plan depends on Lionheart going into a tunnel, which he would never do. So why not have the traps right there? Why not have that net of spikes over that area as soon as everybody jumped down to hold her? Why not have explosives ready for as soon as she transformed and then attacked while she recovers and or is confused or something like that? The whole thing is predictable, including who the Titan would be. At first, it seems to be a red herring, a way to trick the audience. You look at her, see the nose and say, yep, Annie. But then you see they don't want to defeat her, but to capture her. That is an interesting revelation, and then Annie is shown in the military police, so maybe it isn't her? Everything up to the plan seems to be leading to some other revelation, but
Nope. The only purpose seems to be to make Annie Lionheart show herself as a Titan to create drama for the series. For the armed forces themselves, there is no reason.
of course this doesn't mean it's bad. It's a great achievement doing something with just one or two problems.
It's something so perfectly interesting. I don't even know how I could contribute to the fandom anymore.
Oh no, someone injected her with a yellow and brown substance and now she's becoming a giraffe.
Well, there's always fan service. I'm glad I didn't give this back to the Dungeon Master yet.
a giraffe's back of the neck.
But the same scene I make sure to show for its impact could easily be could easily be